Well, hi, a very warm welcome to Dusty Shelf. Hope I find you well. Now, I have to say, this is probably about take 50. I keep going around in circles on this one, but hopefully I'm going to get there this time round. So, today we're reviewing these couple of models from Hornby, and I've had them quite a while. This one I've had an awfully long time. This one I've had a couple of months. And they've both been sitting on my shelf waiting for me to do a review. And I've struggled to sort of think of how I want to tackle these two. And last week, watching YouTube, I came across a video from one of the other YouTubers, in fact, one of the proper YouTubers who does some very, very good reviews, and gave me some food for thought. So I'm not going to mention the YouTuber, but if you've seen their video, you'll understand this a little bit. So as one of the old people who this is aimed at, I have to say this is wonderful. And also, as one of the old people who this is aimed at, I can say I've learnt a thing or two. Now, YouTube, I've been doing for a couple of years. I have found that the more negative you are, the more your views go up. It's a really sad fact of the world. And if you're positive about things, you just really don't get many views. Now, I have the luxury that this isn't my day job. I just do this as a hobby to keep a little bit of interest in my life and to make other people happy. You know, if you enjoy my videos, then it makes my day. That's all I do it for. And for that reason, I can be positive. I don't have to be negative. I am sometimes. If, you know, a train derails, I'll tell you. But I generally am quite positive about things. Now, that's not to say the other YouTubers' video was negative, but it did feel like it was sort of hammering down on the manufacturer. But also, in my day job, I am involved in engineering and production, and I know how difficult it is to bring a product to market. And yeah, I can only imagine it's even more difficult with something as complex as a model railway. So I'm going to come back to those 2 points later in the in this chat. Just to say also that you know, this isn't scripted. I'm just saying it as I see it, so apologies if I do ramble a little bit. So the model in question, as you can see, is celebrating 70 years of Hornby in Margate at their Westwood factory. Obviously hasn't produced anything for many years, but they still have a presence there on the site in Westwood. And you can see here 1954 right the way through to 2024. And in 2024, a whole range of merchandise was released to celebrate this 70th anniversary. There was a number of 040 locos, the Polly, the Nelly. I think there was 4 of them in different colours, I can't remember now. There was also the couple of wagons, and Rovex 060, and also the Hornby factory building for Scaledale that I've already reviewed on the channel. So quickly round the box, you can see on the front here the Triangle Railways. The number on the front here, 25550. We'll come back to that in a moment. We've got the same on the side. And then on the back here, we've got the model number, which is R30341, the Hornby 70th Westwood 040. And I have to say, I love this packaging. I think this is fantastic. I love this logo. Isn't that marvellous? Absolutely wonderful packaging. And when you compare it to the, you know, the original one here from the 1970s, yeah, great, absolutely great. I love it. Anyway, let's pull the model out, and we'll go through the literature in a moment. So what we have here is quite a straightforward and basic logo. Now, I'm going to agree with the other YouTuber here. Hornby missed the mark on the pricing for this completely. This was originally £54. And although I decided this was the one I wanted to get, there's no way I was paying £54 for what I would consider to be, at best, a £20 loco. So I think, in my mind, this is a £20 loco, maybe an additional tenner for the box and the special edition bits. So this should have been, I think, about £30. Now, I didn't buy it at £54. I actually waited till the price dropped. Obviously, you know, they didn't sell that many at full price, and these appeared in the sales quite quickly, and I picked mine up for, I think it was just under £30. And although it's a really basic logo, and there's not a great deal to say about it, what I will say is it's hit the mark for me. Anyway, let's have a quick look at the literature that came with it. So we've got operating instructions here, general maintenance. I mean, with it being such a basic loco, there's not really a great deal to see here. Lubrication points, how to lift the body off. There's no accessories with it. It is a very, very basic system. And just at the back here, some safety notes and things. And it came with this nice little certificate here. A piece of commemorative history now sits amongst your collection. Limited edition number 25550 040 locomotive, which marks 70 years of Hornby based in Margate. Only 750 models were produced for this special occasion, and mine is 331. Now at this point I need to bring in the original. So in terms of the box, there's nothing around it at all, but let me just lift out the original and put them side by side, and you can see that they are vaguely similar. Now they're not identical locos, and I'll go into that in a moment, so let's deal with each one separately. So this is the original. I think this came out in the 1970s. Very basic 040 loco. It's got the really robust motor in there with the brushes that can be removed, cleaned and replaced. Got a metal chassis on there, and the number 2550, I believe, and somebody will correct me, I'm sure, that was actually the phone number for the service department in Hornby. It's got this fantastic chrome dome on the top here, and yeah, painted in red buffers. Nice little loco there with the coal bunker on the back there. Not bad at all, and a little bit of lining on the side. Now the reason this loco is so important to me, and I'm going to bring in this one here from the side, this is my very, very first loco. This is number one in my collection, and it's a very important model to me, and it has pride of place in my collection, although a little bit dusty, as you can see from the dusty shelf. Again, with the painted buffers, a little bit of lining on the side. It has a different number, and obviously yeah, slightly different dome on the top there without the chrome, but you can see that the body style is all but the same, and yeah, very different in those days, the way that the lining was applied. This is heat added, you know, so they're sort of embossed on the side rather than printed. This one, I'm just trying to feel, this one I think is actually printed on the side, so maybe a little bit later than this one, but really pleased to have this one in the collection to go alongside this little one that you see here. Now moving on to the present day model. Now it is quite a cheap loco. It's got a plastic chassis. It's got a sealed motor. The printing on the side is very well done. It's not bad at all. You can see the coal bunker on the back here, and the chromed dome that's been put on the top. Now this model has been doing the rounds for so many years, so many so that back a few years ago I allowed my daughter to paint one of these for Halloween. We had a Halloween train, and you can see that it's identical loco there, and these have ranged anywhere from, I've seen them from £30 right the way down to about a tenner at some of the shows. Now I'm going to jump back to the other YouTuber, and they pointed out that Hornby used the word reproduction, and basically then pointed out all of the differences between the two locos. But these are obviously different locos, and you know, I think reproduction is not a bad word. It's not a replica, it's a reproduction. So what they've tried to do is capture the essence of the loco from the 1970s into a modern day loco, which I think they've kind of done. And this comes back to my comments about production. Well, jumping back to the beginning of this video, I said it's very hard to bring something to market, so I've put a few figures together to try and prove a point. Now these are just my estimates, they're picked out of thin air, and yeah, before you're too critical, they're just here to prove a point. So price of the loco was £54.99, multiplied that by 750 units, gives a grand total revenue of 41,242. Now instantly we take the VAT off. Now obviously some of that VAT could claimed back, but for the purpose of this illustration we'll assume the VAT is full at 20%, which is £8,248. Take that away from the running total, leaves a revenue of 32,994. Now the base train, I've seen these for sale for £10, so I've put a cost price landed in the UK of £7 for the base train. I don't think that's unreasonable. So £7 per train, 750 trains, gives 5,250. Subtract that from the total, brings us down to 27,744, which is our sort of running revenue. Now, the masking for the chrome and some other fixtures and tooling that may be needed for the production of this, I've estimated £7,000, which brings us down to 20,744. So the box and the certificate, somebody had to design those, so I put a cost of 500 quid in for those, and I've put £1 per box and per certificate sets. That's another 750. Take that off the total, we're down to 19,494. Now we've got the staff for Hornby, so we've got the likes of the management, the sales reps, when you phone up the helpline, the people that help you when there's a problem, the secretarial staff, the accounting staff, it goes on and on. All of those are employed 52 weeks a year, so on a pro rata basis, I've put £2,000 against this loco, which now brings us down to a cost base of 17,494. I've then put the cost on here of Margate. I mean, basically, you've got to pay rates, you've got to pay insurance, and you've got to pay for the visitor centre. So the visitor centre is very cheap to get in, and it's used as a marketing tool. And I should expect that, you know, there's not much revenue made from the visitor centre. Plus, also in there, you've also got the marketing that Hornby, you know, all the little flyers and little posters and things that go up, and adverts on the telly and the internet. You know, so I've put another £2,000 in there on a pro rata basis for this loco, which brings us down to, and finally I've put in a 10% return on damaged goods and things. So it brings a rough total of profit on this loco down to 13,945, which, when you think of it in the big scheme of a company like Hornby, that's not a lot of profit on one product, you know, 13,000. Now if I run those numbers again, and I've just turning over my page, making sure I get the figures right. I'm actually having to read all the figures, I can't do this from memory. So assuming a price of £30 for the loco rather than the £54 means if I run exactly the same figures all the way through the same calculation, I come out with a negative £1,000. So you can suddenly see, you know, where the £54 came from for this. Now, and hopefully this illustrates the issue that Hornby have with this type of loco. You know, wonderful things to have, and obviously they want this kind of thing in the range. They don't want to do top of the range stuff all the time. They want to make it accessible to other people, but in doing so, the cost price of this has pushed up to over £50, and obviously, you know, I mean, I'm one of them. I'm not willing to pay £50 for a loco like this. So then when you discount them down to £30, you know, your baseline or your revenue from this is reducing and reducing. And there comes a point where, is it actually worth making these? And it'd be such a shame to see these really cheap locos disappear off the market. And this goes back to my second point about negativity in YouTube. Once you've gone through all of the cost and analysis and bringing this to market and making sure the product's good and putting it out online, to then get negative views and negative views about the company as well, you know, it really doesn't help. It is difficult. This type of loco is never going to attract absolutely outstanding reviews. It's not that type of product. I mean, it's not a, you know, a high class model. It's going to be a decent runner. It's not going to, you know, there's not really a lot to it. Hornby have done their best to keep the cost down, and yes, the cost has gone too high on this one, and I think they did make a mistake in their cost base in assuming people would pay £50 for this. But then when you consider all the costs that go into bringing one of these to market and the end revenue from this type of model, yeah, it's a little bit worrying, and it would be a very, very sad day. Well, certainly for me it would be, if Hornby were to cease trading or Hornby was no longer part of my life. I want to see them succeed. I want to see them continue. They've been, you know, I've been a Hornby collector now for, well, as far back as I can remember, far back as this train, in fact. And yeah, long may it continue. So anyway, I've rambled on for quite some time about these couple of locos. So with that, let's go and give them a run on the track. Now, just before I give these locos a quick run, one final thing. So same packaging. I was going to do a separate video on this, but it's just not worth it. 70 years in Margate again. Same sort of Triangle Railways packages. This is a Westwood 7-planked wagon. And I'll open this up and show you inside. Now, I really like this. with the Rovex branding on the side. Rovex Model Railways, Scale Model Railways Limited, 70 years, 1954 to 2024. I think that is a lovely little wagon. Metal wheels on there, lots of detailing underneath, and yeah, with the Rovex sign on the side.
I was a lonely silhouette, needed somebody to show the way. Yeah, I was a heartbeat with no sound till you came around. Yeah, you showed me colors, light in the darkness. You were the only thing I needed. Then we got older, but we stayed the same. Swear that we never lost the flame. No sorry.
Well, there you go, there's my take on this loco. I mean, it is what it is, and I think it's a great little memento for an anniversary, and yeah, brought back some memories, and I guess being one of the old folks reminiscing about the past, it is quite a nice little thing. Hopefully I didn't ramble too much, but I think I want the takeaway to be that, you know, although it seems very easy to draw to the conclusion that Hornby are on a money grab with these little locos, it must be really difficult to make decisions to go ahead and put them into production, given what the final profit would be, and keeping the shareholders happy and all that kind of thing. So hopefully some of the figures I put together weren't too far out to try and prove that point. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up, and why not check out the channel. Lots on there, and if you can subscribe, I'll be very, very grateful. And with that, I'm going to leave this one there and just say thanks ever so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.